We're back in here, folks. It's Monday. It is Monday, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the week that everybody has circled on the calendar. Alabama-Georgia week. This will be the toughest ticket in the house to get. Whether your thing is Vivid Seats or StubHub or Ticketmaster, doesn't really matter. This will be the toughest ticket in the house for you to get. But you are locked and loaded onto the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information. Got a lot to get into, breakdown on today's show. This is, in my own words, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. The show is brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you haven't done so yet, get you your four-finger bling necklace showing that support for the fourth quarter, Alabama being dominant in the fourth quarter, courtesy of WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. As always, we're bringing you the show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this live to you on YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, drop a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. But we're not only coming to you through YouTube, we got you covered here on Facebook as well. So to all my Facebook people out there, all my Twitter people as well, we're coming to Facebook and Twitter also. It is always a joy to be joined here by the man, the myth, the legend, the maestro in the production studio, Mr. John Ivory, doing his thing. And we want to hear from you today. We want all your calls, all your ideas, all your tweets, all your chats, all your events. Bring them in here today, 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. Do not let this night go by without letting your voice be heard here. 205-448-1358. A little bit later on in the show, we'll be joined live by former Auburn running back Brad Lester, who also trained Alabama running back Najee Harris over the summer. Harris is having a phenomenal season thus far, and just it's going to be awesome to have Lester on the show just to talk about how proud he is to see that the work he's put in with Harris has been growing beautifully into fruition. But we start the show off, with this right here. And I was at the game over the weekend. I was at Oxford, Mississippi. I was at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. Took that 4-hour drive. I was there. I took everything in. It was the most craziest, weird, unexpected type of football game I've seen in quite some time. I was disappointed at a number of different things. First and foremost, the food. I was expecting more from the state of Mississippi. I was expecting some fried chicken. I was expecting some macaroni and cheese. I was expecting maybe a little mashed potatoes. And I got a boxed lunch like I was a 12-year-old going to the 6th grade. I'm almost 30 years old, and they gave me a boxed lunch. So I was not happy with that ordeal whatsoever, let me tell you. But here's the main thing, people, and it is not often where I am wrong or I miss on something when it comes to Alabama football. Most of the time, if I give out information or if I see information, I'm spot on with it, thankfully. But in the moments where I mess up, in the moments where I do whiff, in the moments where I don't hit it as accurately as I would like to, I am a man of owning up to that. I own up to it. And in the case of Pete Golding, hey, I was wrong on that. I whiffed on that. I made a egregious mistake on that right there. I literally thought that, Pete Golding, him being, young guy, and seeing how Alabama, Nick Saban brought in Kirby Smart young and trained him up and taught him some things and developed him and groomed him, and we saw what Kirby Smart became. I thought the same thing, could very much so being well there for Pete Golding, but that has not been the case through 16 games of him being a full-time defensive coordinator for Alabama, 13 games last year, of course 3 games this year. And the game of football in 2019, 2020 is vastly different than what it was in 2008. In 2008, Nick Saban could afford to gamble on a young defensive coach because he was trying to build a culture at Alabama, or he was trying to reestablish a dominant culture that was once at Alabama prior to the struggles coming in. So when that happens, when you're trying to build something, you can afford to take a gamble on a young coach. But when you are on the top of the mountain, and when you are built, and when you are established, and when you are arguably one of the best programs, if not the best program in college football, you can't really afford to gamble unless you know that that particular coach is going to hit for your respective program. It's kind of like recruiting in a way. When you're bringing your first recruiting class in, you can afford to gamble and have some players that may not pop the way you want them to pop, right? But when you become a fully established program, you spend a lot of your time, making sure we're getting these transcendent, these big time names that are going to, pop in the program. And when you are facing when you're facing an offensive-minded coach, an offensive-minded tactician like a Lane Kiffin, and as I mentioned on the show last week, when it comes to Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin is not one of your average former Saban assistants. Like, for most Saban assistants, it's wishful thinking. Maybe we'll beat Coach Saban. Possibly we'll beat Coach Saban. We may have a shot. Maybe a ball may bounce our way. Maybe we get a turnover or two. It's a lot of wishful thinking with other coaches when it comes to Nick Saban. With Lane Kiffin, it's bump that. He elderly. He ain't what he used to be. He kind of old, decrepit now. This ain't the same Nick Saban that he once was. He ain't the king of the block that he used to be. Like, I can take Nick Saban. I can get Nick Saban. I can beat Nick Saban. He ain't pimping now like he used to be pimping. Like, I can take Coach Nick. No, Coach Nick now is like Michael Jordan when he was wearing number 45 instead of 23. When MJ was 23, he was soaring through the air. You couldn't touch him. He wasn't human. When MJ was 45, shucks, I could take MJ. He ain't nothing to me. And that's how Lane Kiffin is right now. He's got that confidence when it comes to facing Coach Saban, and very few coaches have that type of confidence. And when you're playing against a tactician like him, you got to have a savvy, veteran, seasoned leader, seasoned guy, running this defense to, at least at the bare minimum, limit these new-aged offenses that are in here where college football is concerned. And Pete Golding in this matchup got ate up, chewed up, and spat back out there by Lane Kiffin in this matchup. Now, of course, Pete Golding came in at a time where Alabama was losing a lot of its marquee ace defensive coaches, right? From 2016 to 2018, there was the mass exodus of coaches. Kirby Smart left, Jeremy Pruitt left, Derek Ansley left, Mel Tucker left, and then their assistants with them left. And when that happened, of course, you as Tide Nation went, what in the world is going on? Do these coaches not like being here? Do they not like Coach Saban? Do they not like being at Bama? What's going on? Why are they leaving? We didn't lost so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and he was a great coach. He was a great teacher. He was a great recruiter. He was a great communicator and defensive mind. Like, why are we losing all of his coaches? And in the aftermath of losing those coaches, not only did it affect the 2018 and 2019 recruiting classes for the Crimson Tide, but it also affected Nick Saban to a point where he has yet to sort of rebound and get that elite defensive savvy seasoned veteran mind that he needs in terms of coaching these players. And he's tried to have two young guys do it. He tried with Tosh Lupoi in 2018. Unfortunately, it did not work. Alabama got taken to the woodshed by Clemson 44-16 in the 2019 national championship game off the 18 season. And of course, he's trying it with Pete Golding through 16 games. You're still seeing, a lot of confusion there on the field. And for a lot of people out there, it's, well, you can't blame it all on the coach. It's not all on the coach's fault. Players have to do certain things. Players have to tackle. Players are going to play with energy. They got to be enthusiastic. They got to do their job on the field. And yes, 100%. I agree with you. There are some things that players have to do, most definitely. But I'm watching this game from a bird's eye view inside of Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, and I am seeing situations where guys are not understanding what the play call is. They're looking lost in translation. They're looking over at the sideline. They're not knowing where to be. And there was a moment where players are not being sure of themselves on the field, and they're guessing and gambling instead of playing with confidence, and that's coaching. And there was a moment where in the game, Coach Saban was caught on video going nuclear on Pete Golding, literally giving Pete Golding one of the infamous, famous butt chewings. He's going nuclear there on Coach Golding. There was one point in the game, I believe Nick Saban ran out of cuss words to say. And that's messed up. That's how you know Coach Saban is mad. When he runs out of cuss words to say, on the field. I mean, there was a point in the game where I was frustrated to the point where I made one tweet. And my tweet was, Alabama's offense, praise Jesus, hallelujah. Alabama's defense, may God have mercy on my soul. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Lord, hold my liquor. That was the tweet I made at one point in the game because I myself got, frustrated just sitting there, looking at that and watching that. And this is no offense to Alabama's offense. Alabama's offense is fantastic right now. This is not a negative slight or connotation towards Mac Jones, Steve Sarkisian. Everybody affiliated with the offensive side of the football, Bama fans are proud of those guys. The offense is playing exquisitely fantastic football. However, all I'm saying is, for you guys as fans and I myself in the media, this is Pavlov's dogs, classical conditioning, right? We've been psychologically trained since birth or from whatever time our Alabama fandom began to look at Alabama as defense first, defensive oriented, defense led. We are taught that defense is what runs the Crimson Tide. And when you're not seeing the defense out there being dominant, it really sort of bothers you and shakes you the wrong way because we all kind of go back to one of the first statements Nick Saban said in 2007 when he became the head coach. We're going to give you a product that you, the fans, can be proud of. And over the weekend, nobody in their right mind can say that they're happy about that defensive product. You're not happy with the defensive product. And like I said, I understand there are things that players have to do on the field, but there's also things that coaching has to get done on the field also. And when you have Saban upset, fans upset, former players visibly upset, something's got to be done here. In times past, the players had a come to Jesus meeting, but today I don't think it was a come to Jesus meeting. I think it was a fire and brimstone meeting. Coach Saban was in there cutting folks up, saying, hey, either we getting down with the get down and getting right, or you can get the heck up out the door. I think Saban was going in there fire and brimstone for real. But the question that a lot of you have to ask is Charlie Strong the guy? Do we finally look at Charlie Strong here as the DC? And in the case of Charlie Strong, he was brought in back in the spring as a defensive analyst. I don't think he would have taken the job if not for a conversation with Coach Saban at some point. Could he have an opportunity to maybe even run the defense? So Charlie Strong was brought in back in the spring as a defensive analyst. And at 60 years old, Coach Strong, he has yet to coordinate, operate, run a defense in this decade against these new-aged offenses that we're facing. He's yet to coordinate a defense in this decade. He's had some tenure here as a head coach in this decade, 2010 to 2013. He was at Louisville, and that was fruitful for him with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. However, his time at Texas and South Florida were not as fruitful. However, in a recent decade, when he was just a primary defensive coordinator, Charlie Strong had big success, a lot of success, at the University of Florida under Urban Meyer, winning national championships in 2006 and 2008, having a lot of those players, or positioned a lot of those players, as I should say, to go to the NFL. The 2006 season, that defense at Florida gave up 13.5 points per game. 2008, it gave up 12.9 points per contest. So Charlie Strong has a reputation of being just a big-time veteran, seasoned defensive mind. And although it's kind of high risk, high reward with him at this point, because once again, he has not coordinated a defense in this era, for a lot of you as fans, there's got to be something other than Coach Golding right now. There's got to be something other that we could go to than Coach Golding, because there were so many tweets after the game, not just fire Pete Golding, but Coach Saban, do to Coach Golding what you did to Lane Kiffin, fire him off the tarmac, something like that. There was a lot of people that were disappointed with this performance, just going back to, we have been psychologically trained, as consumers of Tide football, that defense first, defense sets the tone, defense oriented, and when the defense is not where it needs to be at, there is a lot of concern there. So is it time for Charlie Strong? Do you guys still think Alabama can pull this together with Pete Golding? Want to hear your thoughts right now as we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that thing. We're just getting started here on the show. Upon our return, we will get to your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your concerns, your events right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care, in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99, and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We are back into the action here, folks, on the hottest ticket in the streets, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news on a Monday. In My Own Words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get to your phone calls right now, because I know you guys are waiting to let your voices be heard here on the show, call segment brought to you by weownthefourthquarter.com. But before we get into that, we got some super chats to shout out right now. How about Dallas Schwartz? Dallas Schwartz coming in with that $25 via the super chats, helping us out here at TDA. Willie351 donating that cool $7.77 here via the super chats. Jimmy Clay back again. Jimmy Clay donating that $5, showing us some love here. And Senator Hines, one of the leaders of that Blue Wrench gang. Senator Hines dropping in that $10 there via the super chats, helping us out here. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we're back on Utah Nation. 205-448-1358. The number to call in and let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. Once again, the call statement brought to you by weownthefourthquarter.com. And we start things off with Senator Hines. Senator, my man, what's going on?
Steven, I'm amped up for the big game this week, but if you're a true Alabama fan, you came into Monday's work week worried about this defense, man. And we spoke briefly, man, but I'm more concerned, not necessarily with our players. I believe our players have enough competitive nature in them to get their act together. They know they got to make tackles. They know they got to be more attentive. But man, it's a bad thing when you see how disciplined our defense played the first week and second week as far as penalties and, just knowing their assignments and doing their assignments. And yes, we gave up, the defense wasn't locked down, but we wasn't horrible the first 2 weeks. And I feel like the guys were just as attentive. They were doing exactly what they were told. And they were getting put in just unfavorable positions, Steven. When you think about it, overall, the tackling was horrible, but guys we were behind on every offensive play. And I hate that Dylan Moses came out and said, made that statement about, Lane knowing the signals and stuff. That may be true. I don't think there's no weight to it. But at the same time, Dylan, you can't miss 8 tackles as the leader of the defense. You yourself missed 8 tackles last game. I counted. I went back and watched film, Steven. I'm a coach, so I love going back and rewatching film. Also, you can't have a total of, 24 missed tackles as a team defense. And I mean, that's like multiple tackles on one play. You can't have 24 missed tackles in the game and play against a high-powered offense that has Lane Kiffin as the offensive coordinator with weapons at disposal and expect to come out of that game successful as a defense. So, Alabama Nation, I hear you cry. I hear you. I hear the complaints. I see it. I wouldn't necessarily say fire Pete Golden because our linebacker production with Pete Golden being an assistant and a linebacker coach, it's been good. It's been awesome. Linebackers are smarter. They're making reads better. But as far as defensive coordinator being able to react in the game and to make adjustments and, put on those big boy pants that it takes to be able to call a defense in the top tier, the top end of the SEC, I don't think he's ready, Steven. And I'm really disappointed in how, the backstory to all that Lane Kiffin stuff. I don't care. They could know every call we got. That still don't stop the defensive coordinator from sitting there taking in what's being assessed and analyzed from his analysts and making those adjustments. You have to be able to take that next step to show that you're not just a linebacker coach. You can make the adjustments, and I just don't feel like he's ready for it. Yes, I was wrong last week. I did say, though, just like you said, this week would give Pete Golden a chance to prove himself, and he failed miserably, man. I honestly think it's time for Charlie to step up, for Nick to just go ahead and assume micromanaging those defensive play calls. And like I said, man, I believe it's going to get better. It's Nick Saban. It's going to get better. How you feel about it? I know you pissed off about it, man. Just let me have it, brother.
I mean, and I'm gonna make this quick. And like I said in the first segment, I take the L on that one because I have been the biggest supporter of Pete Golding since he's been here. Of course, you guys know that. Because I kind of felt like, maybe Nick Saban could do the same thing that he did with Kirby Smart, for Pete Golding. But I also know that football is much different now than what it was in 2008. And now you got to be able to have guys that are going to hit as far as making sure no matter what the offense has in store, the defense can be able to check and make those adjustments. It's not happening right now. This week is a very intense week of practice. I know that, but Senator, man, as always, we appreciate the call. It's going to get back right, but we appreciate the call.
All right, brother. Take care. Roll Tide to the chat, man. Love y'all. Blue Rinse Gang, we out here.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call there from Senator. We continue on a Monday. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hello, this is G Money. How are you?
Man, G Money, what's going on with you, man?
As someone else who has coaching experience, just like the last caller, I like watching the tape back. And the biggest thing that I saw from the SEC this week is that there are teams in the SEC, like Tennessee and Georgia, especially from the Tennessee and Georgia game, that are going to take advantage of your mistakes. And there are a lot of teams that are you need to be perfect against, it looks like, in this SEC, because teams are going to expose you, and they're going to take advantage of the mistakes that you make. So I really worry about this Bama defense and how they're going to be able to get it together and stop making these mistakes that are going to get them very exposed and possibly put them in trouble for the SEC against teams like Tennessee and Georgia. That's also why I am out on Florida this year. Florida gave up the most points in the SEC going into this week, and they are also going to get exposed, I believe, by a Tennessee or a Georgia team. But going back to Bama, I want to know what you think they're going to be able to do to correct all these mistakes that they're making on defense.
Well, first thing, G-Money, fortunately for Alabama, Georgia is not the same stylistically as Ole Miss. Georgia typically doesn't go fast. There's not a lot of tempo there. They're usually a ground and pound play action team. Now, does that mean that Kirby may throw a couple of wrinkles in there? He possibly could, but stylistically, Georgia not the same as Ole Miss. That's unfortunate. Another thing, Alabama has had meetings all day today. What took place in those meetings, I'm not sure. Upon getting the information, I will go into that information, but I know Saban was not happy. I know nobody on that team was not happy. There were a lot of meetings today, and from those meetings will come some corrections. But G-Money, as always, we appreciate the call, man. Keep listening to us.
Thank you.
Appreciate the love there from G-Money. We continue with the call segment here on the show. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, this is Jonah.
Hey, Jonah, what's happening?
Not much. Having a good day today?
Having a pretty good day today, man. Not too bad. Of course, you know, I drove 4 hours home from Oxford, Mississippi on Saturday and was trying to keep my car in the road because of the frustration that I was dealing with, but I'm okay.
I get that. I was pacing around the entire game, too. I think, for me today, I wanted to talk about one big key that I think to be part of the game, and I think part of it is not getting into the holes against Georgia like we did in 2017, 2018. Because those teams, I feel like we're more resilient than this team. I feel like if we get down 14 to Georgia, we have the offensive firepower, but on defense if we get down 14-0 early. So I think it's going to be super important to stay level-headed and not get down in the hole this year. And also, the offensive lines looked really good this year, but I am a bit worried about Georgia's pass rushers and Adam Anderson, Nolan Smith, those dogs. I'm wondering what you think about the pass rush. You think the offensive line will be able to perform as well as they have the past 3 games? Because Mac Jones isn't as mobile as a guy like Hurts or Tua.
He's not. He may not be as mobile, but Mac Jones can run. Mac Jones can run. He can move with his feet with the football. So I think he is mobile than what most give him credit for. But I look at this offensive line, Alex Leatherwood, Landon Dickerson, that group, they have got to neutralize this pass rush. This is one of Georgia's. This is probably the most talent that Kirby's had in quite some time. So this is a pass rush that you've got to neutralize. 100% agree with you. But, Jonah, we appreciate the call, man. Keep listening to us.
Yes, sir.
We got more calls here on a Monday. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Pretty good.
This is Sean from Huntsville.
Sean, what's up, man?
Man, you already know, man. You already know. I want to comment to Senator and the first guy and the second guy that just called. With all due respect, too, you know, I totally disagree with both callers. I totally disagree. I coach the game now. Coach LeBron Ray, he'll tell you out his own mouth. I totally respectfully disagree. I didn't see that at all. See, the fan in me want to agree with those guys, but I have to be honest with myself because that makes me feel better when we win a game. I don't be as on edge. I did not see what the first 2 guys seen. I seen lost linebackers, completely lost. I didn't see guys out there doing what they were told to do. I seen linebackers that were lost. I seen safeties that was out of position. I seen a team in the second half that was afraid to blitz, so they started zoning up, thinking that was going to help, and it didn't. I seen a team that could only get pass rush when Will Anderson was in the game. I seen Chris Allen get back there but completely missed the tackle 5 or 6 times. I did not see nothing positive. I seen linebackers that while Lane was snapping the ball, they were still looking toward the sideline. I seen DBs still running on to the field while he was trying to snap the ball. You know what I mean? Out of position. switching in the secondary. I seen safeties that act like they was afraid to come up and make a tackle, hesitant. Man, listen. I blame Pete just like everybody else because Pete is the defensive coordinator. It is his job to make the call of the defense, and it is his job to chaperone the personnel for each situation. But this is why I say if we're going to give Coach Saban, and I say this respectfully because I love Coach Saban, man, if we're going to give him all the credit when everything go good, this is my personal spiel. I got to get on him just a little bit. I said this, Stephen, if you go back to your show a few months ago when I called before the season even started, and Roman Harper, I seen him on the show say the same thing I said maybe a month later. I said Saban has got to fix the scheme that 3-4 with a jack linebacker. That's fine when you got Reuben Foster and Reggie Ragland and all these guys in the middle that's handling that. That defense is predicated on gap integrity, letting your middle linebackers do all the work. They make all the tackles. They look like the stars in that defense. When your middle linebackers are lost, brother, everybody lost. And to prove my point, if you go back, I said this on another Alabama show, if you go back to the second quarter, it was 3:49 left in the half. Ole Miss was driving. We got them to a 4th, and I think it was 4th and 3 or 4th and 6. I'm not sure what distance.
4th and 3. 4th and 3.
Yeah. Do you not understand? Ben Davis and Drew Sanders was both on the same side. Both of these guys play outside linebacker, and they were caught on the same side with a big gap on the right side. They ran a simple play off tackle and picked. I think they got to like the 10-yard line. It was another play that was 3rd and 17 or some of that nature. Instead of us blitzing, we decided to drop in the zone. We rushed the 3 down linemen who are not pass rushers, and dropped 8 people, and they still completed the first down. That is scheme wise, man. That is me saying as a coach, I don't know what else to do. So we just going to drop in zone and hope. This is my problem with that scheme, and I said this on your other show months ago. When you are a veteran quarterback, meaning a la Trevor Lawrence, a la Justin Fields, any quarterback that's worth his salt, the quarterback in that offense should not know you in man every time he go up on the center or every time he takes the snap. Alabama's defense, man, Saban is kind of like, we're going to play man. We're going to be sound up front. If you can beat us, cool. Man, that's going to hurt us, man. You got I know we can't change the whole defense, but we have to have
I know exactly what you're saying, Sean, but we got a lot of callers in the queue right now.
I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
I want you to call back in the second segment to finish that point. That was a good point you was making.
Okay, man, I definitely will. Thank
you. Absolutely. Sean was having a great segment going there. But we go to this next call right here. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Doing okay, man. Doing okay here.
Hey, this is Warren from the Low Country, South Carolina. I'm probably just going to echo what everybody's been saying. And I watched the game. Like I said in my text there, it took me a while to get over it. Alabama is not playing Alabama defense. Pete Golding is not keeping pace with what is happening. He didn't make any adjustments at the halftime. I mean, you could see that. We have no nasty on our defense. There's no nasty. You cannot play defense if you don't have an alpha male or a nasty guy on defense. Ole Miss was just simply not concerned about our defense. And that bothered me a whole lot. We looked uncertain. We didn't have linebackers flying around, missed tackles. You can blame the players, but I'm going to tell you something. If that scheme is so difficult that our defense can't pick it up and do it just in reaction, then we need to change some things. Because if you take a look at what Clemson is doing, and if they're the big boys, quote unquote, that defense is flying around and they're having fun. They're not worried about putting points on the board, but they're going to smash you. That concerns me. They need to fix it. And like one caller said, look, I love Nick Saban too. He is the greatest college football coach. But right now, he's got a type of thorn in his flesh. And I'm going to tell you, I believe it's Pete Golding. Something has got to change. Georgia's coming to town. Do you not think that Kirby Smart has not looked at the game and is scheming right now with the defense that we played? We're not nasty on defense. None. And that's the thing. What do you think? That's the thing that's bothering me.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Something's got to change. Something's got to be fixed. And this week is the week for Saban, the national champion that he is. He has got to swiftly get this fixed. But, my man, as always, we appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. We got a whole line worth of calls right now. Be sure you guys call. Be sure to hang on. We will get to you in the second call segment, or you can also call back in the second call segment. But we appreciate everybody for really, really, really helping us out here on the show. The next call segment will be at 7:50. 7:50 will be the next call segment. So be sure to call back in at 7:50 to continue the conversation that is Alabama football. We also have a super chat here to shout out before we go to break. It comes from James Singer. James Singer donating that $20 via the super chats. Appreciate James Singer showing the love right there. You can actually stay on the line. Though. Stay on the line. We will definitely get to your calls in the second call segment. But we're going to take a break right now. Upon our return, we sit down with former Auburn running back Brad Lester, who trained Najee Harris over the summer and has been very happy with Harris's performance thus far. We'll talk with Lester after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi, check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waitr and Crimson2go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now, you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters.
We are back into the action here, folks. Rocking and rolling on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. As always, folks, you can drop a thumbs up. Yes, drop a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, and analysis on your favorite program, that being Alabama football here. But we're going to be joined here shortly by former Auburn running back Brad Lester, played from 2004 to 2008. He trained Najee Harris, Alabama senior running back Najee Harris, over the summer, and helping him improve his speed, improve his power, improve his agility, improve everything about him in terms of his burst, his explosiveness, and all of the work that Lester and Harris performed over the summer has really helped the running back this year, as he's having a phenomenal season. 10 rushing touchdowns, had a beast of a performance against Ole Miss over the weekend. 23 carries, 206 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, averaged 9 yards per carry. I remember a caller on last week talked about, will Najee Harris ever get the long touchdown run going? Well, over the weekend, he did. 2 touchdown runs of 30-plus yards, a 33-yard touchdown score, and a 39-yard touchdown run late there in the fourth quarter. So a career day For Najee Harris, he was the Walter Camp National Offensive Player of the Week, and he was also the SEC, Offensive Player of the Week there. So big ups to Najee Harris. But I believe we've got Brad Lester, former Auburn running back, on the phone line right now. Played for the Tigers from 2004 to 08. Glad to have you back with us, my brother. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? Appreciate you guys having me back on.
Absolutely fantastic. So we're going to get into Najee Harris right now. So all the work that you put in with this young man over the summer, whether it was speed training, whether it was explosive training, whether it was strength training, all the things that you did with Harris the entire summer, seeing him put this into action and having the season that he's having so far, especially the career high he put up against Ole Miss last week. How excited are you right now?
Extremely. Let me start by saying this, because I've had a lot of people say, about things that we did with them for us getting them faster and stronger. First of all, I want to give him his credit. He put in so much work on his own and just going the extra mile and doing what it takes to be one of the best running backs in the SEC and in the country. So I was just here to assist him, help him try to, achieve his dreams and his goals, and just try to, lead him and mentor him and push him a little bit. But, man, Najee's a very self-motivated guy, great humble person, and I look forward to seeing him continue to excel.
Now, I remember you and I had a brief conversation prior to this show today about, he spoke with you on, he's never had, or prior to Ole Miss, he never had a touchdown run, longer than 16 to 17 yards. And at that moment when he said that, it kind of shocked you, and you wanted to get that fixed, get that worked on immediately. So what was that process like, making sure when Najee gets this speed on him, he's going to be able to break one of these runs, nobody's going to catch him? What was that process like, making sure that he can break those big runs now?
It's funny. It's actually simple. And, it's a simple process of practice makes perfect. So we practice certain drills that simulates him being in that situation and having to make a move on a defender or making a move off the cones and then having to accelerate for 30, 40 yards. We'll do it with the resistance bands, and then we'll do it without the resistance bands. And just kind of repetition and just, again, practice makes perfect, and hard work, there's no substitution for that.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined here on the phone lines with former Auburn running back Brad Lester. Played for the Tigers from 2004 to 08, but he trained Najee Harris of Alabama over the summer, and the young man having a stellar season thus far through 3 games. Now, another thing you and I talked about, Brad, was you mentioned how the two of you had a workout over the summer. Y'all were out there for hours out there working out. And you want to take it light on Najee in a workout, but the young man did not want to shy away from the strenuous stuff. Take us through that story where you were trying to say, Najee, let's take it easy. And he's like, nah, man, I want all the smoke. Give it to me.
And I would say that workout that morning was a tough one. I mean, to the point where when we came back out to the field, I was tired myself. I know he's not going to want to go through this whole next workout, and just see his motivation, and you couldn't even tell he was tired. It just, when you get mentally a certain way and you have a goal you're trying to achieve, I mean, you can push through anything. And he was just that guy that it's like, you know what, I want to do this workout. Let's go ahead and knock this out. And even then, I still had to cut it short. It's like I don't want to make sure he gets hurt or anything like that, because once you train your muscles to a certain point, it's easy to have injuries and pull a muscle.
He's going up against a dominant Georgia defense this weekend, Brad. I mean, Najee Harris is about to face a Georgia defense under Kirby Smart that's only given up 38.3 rush yards a game, first in the nation, first in the SEC. But this is something that Najee prides himself on. He wants to be able to break the best and pound the best into submission, so to speak. What do you expect from him in this matchup as Kirby Smart brings this defense into Bryant-Denny? What do you expect from Najee against Georgia?
I've already told him, actually, I said, if you want to make your money, this is the week to do it. I mean, there's no bigger stage. You got the number one and number 2 and number 3 team in the country playing each other on the biggest stage. You got the number 1 defense in the country. So if you want to show everybody you're the best running back in the country, this is the week to do it. and I got a personal vendetta against Georgia too. So I was like, hey, you got to go get them guys. I said, I'm a root, but you got Alabama any day before Georgia, so you got to go get this one.
Even in the rivalry, even in the Iron Bowl rivalry, Brad Lester pulling for Najee and Alabama to beat Georgia.
Yes, I am. I'm praying for it.
Even in the Iron Bowl rivalry there. So Brad, and this is interesting right here. So when you saw Najee break the first run, which I think it was the 33-yard run, when you saw him break the first run, what was your reaction? I know a lot of people were really excited about the last run, but when he got that first break in the open field on the 33-yard touchdown, what was the first thought that hit your head?
Wow, basically. And just the way he finished the run was very impressive because he could have easily been just went down there at the 3-yard line, but I saw he went the extra mile to get that extra leap to get into the end zone, and it came back the second time and was even way more impressive. So you just saw him get stronger and stronger as the game went on. And it's funny, he had 5 touchdowns, but I felt like he could have had more, even with that penalty they had on the goal line. And I think they were about to run a run play, and they got pushed back to where they had to throw the ball. So, I mean, just to see what he did with what he had this past weekend was amazing.
Now, of course, he's got competition in terms of trying to win the Heisman Trophy, trying to be the first running back taken in the 2021 NFL Draft. And 2 of the guys he's competing against in this Heisman look here are his own teammates, Mac Jones at quarterback, of course, Jalen Waddle at wide receiver. But when you look into Najee's eyes right now, Brad, what do you see in terms of a player that he doesn't care what the competition is? In his mind, this is his Heisman.
He's a very unselfish guy. I'll be honest, and I know this from having conversations, he wants that Heisman Trophy, but he wants a championship, and he wants what's best for the team first. And I've actually heard him say, we got to distribute the ball here and there and make sure everybody gets their touches. And just to hear a player and athlete say that, it's like, wow. I know I wouldn't like that. I know I wanted to get the ball as much as I could back then. So to hear him say that and to be humble enough to, want to spread the ball around and want to do what's best for the team, I mean, it just shows a lot about his character and, how he was raised.
He's Brad Lester, ladies and gentlemen, former Auburn running back, played for the Tigers from 2004 to 2008, but he was training Najee Harris of Alabama throughout the summer, and Harris having a big-time season, 10 rushing scores on the year. Brad, as always, we appreciate you coming on, having some fun with us, talking with us here on the show. You stay safe, be good, and continue that training, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. And I might be down there this weekend to watch the game, so I'll be rooting for you guys.
Absolutely. Good. Brad Lester going to have a chance to come down and watch that game. So that's going to be awesome. But it's awesome having Lester on the show talking about Najee and the job that he has done so far this season. A little bit of an update here. Najee Harris is now in the top 10 all time. He's number 10 all time in Alabama history for career rushing yards. I believe he's at 2,724, if I'm not mistaken, 2,724. He's got 9 major guys in front of him, but he is cracked into the top 10 at number 10 all time for rushing yards in school history for the Crimson Tide. We take another break here on the show, but when we return, we go back to you, Bama Nation. Your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats. We're coming back to you after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We rolling with a full clip, baby. Rolling with a full clip here on the hottest show on the streets, #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. As always, big ups to my man John Ivory in the production studio doing his thing as he does every time on this show. And also be sure to give a thumbs up. As always, give a thumbs up, like on the show, hit that subscribe button, do your thing here, folks, supporting us here at TDA. But we're getting back to the phone lines. This is call segment brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey man, what's up? It's Paul from Ohio. Hey,
doing good. Doing good, Paul, and yourself.
Thanks. I'm doing good. So I haven't seen a defense that soft since Joe Kynes and Shula. And I don't mean physicality-wise. They're out of position. They're letting big runs get busted through, and it just blows my mind. I haven't seen this in a Saban defense. And really, it's the whole SEC. I got all these Big Ten guys up here telling me that we look like the Big 12. His first few weeks because everybody's not playing defense. So I think Golden needs to go. If you don't agree, can you sell me on why they need to keep him?
As of right now, to me, either he needs to go, or if you're going to keep him, demote him and just make him the linebackers coach. Because
Can this be fixed mid-season?
Say it again.
Can this be fixed mid-season?
There's a chance, there's an opportunity. It goes to how does Nick Saban take it, right? Because today there were team meetings. There was a team meeting, players meeting, personnel, coaches meeting. There were a lot of meetings today. So it goes off how does Nick Saban feel about it? Where does Nick Saban take it? Because, like I said, to me, I have been the biggest supporter of Pete Golding since he's been here. But after watching that game, something has to change. Something has to give. Something's got to be adjusted. But we will definitely see what happens this week. But we appreciate the call, Paul.
Thanks. Who takes his place?
If he ends up going, I would look at Charlie Strong. I would definitely look at Charlie Strong as the #1 option.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We continue with the call lines right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
What's up, Steven? It's Tricky Ricky.
Tricky Ricky, what's going on, Playboy?
What's up, my friend?
Doing good in yourself.
Oh my God. Just listening to these guys talk. It's really, I agree with everything they're saying. The last call you had before the Auburn guy came on, about needing a nasty D. I agree 100%. Pete Golding's soft. What did he do before? I'm ready for Charlie. But let me ask you a question. Who is going to be nasty on the defense? Who do you think? Because I thought we played really soft. Who's going to be nasty? We need somebody nasty who wants to fight, you know?
Going into the season, everybody thought it was going to be Christian Barmore, including myself, but against Ole Miss, he only had maybe 1 sack in the game. Didn't really see much from him. And then, of course, with Dylan Moses back, a lot of people thought it was Dylan Moses. He had 13 tackles, but he missed. But he missed a whole bunch of tackles too. And Christian Harris, and there's a lot of players on this team that could be the guy and that should be the guy. But right now, honestly, the guy that's showing me nasty right now is Will Anderson, the freshman. That's the guy that's showing it right now is Will Anderson. And I know he made a couple of missed tackles, but as a freshman, I feel like he will flush that game out of his memory and move on. Right now, the guy that's showing the potential to have the nasty is Will Anderson.
I agree. I'm 100%. When are they going to bring Charlie in to take over?
Well, that's the question right now. Once again, there were team meetings and personnel meetings happening today. I'm not sure at the moment, but as Nick Saban continues to look through this, there will be a move made. But Tricky Ricky, we appreciate the call.
Sir. Hey, one more question, man. How much for you to be our defensive coordinator? Oh, my God. I know you would be nasty. We need you. You know.
Hey, I would love it, but I'm not Saban. I'm fine doing what I'm doing, but appreciate the call.
Hey, man, thank you.
Absolutely. Tricky Ricky there on the call right there. We continue with the call lines. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
What's up, Steven? It's Kenneth, man.
Kenneth, what's happening, man?
Oh, man. You know what's going on, man.
I know, Kenneth, and that's why in the first segment I bit the bullet. I bit the bullet in the first segment. If you were listening in that first segment, I took the heat.
I was coming for you today, so I'm glad you did that. But this is my thing. Just like the dude Sean said, could it be that the offenses in the SEC are passing Nick Saban by?
Say it one more time.
Do you think Nick Saban is do you think his time is over trying to coach defense in his new age of offense?
When I look at that, Kenneth, let's see here. I'm not saying that the time is over. However, I am saying this. For Nick Saban, he's got to really find a elite, savvy, seasoned veteran to hand that defense over to where Nick doesn't have to, be around that defense all the time. He may make a suggestion or two, but I think now is the time to where you got to find a guy that has been coaching big-time football throughout his entire career. I mean, prior to Alabama, Pete Golding was at small school. So for Saban, you got to find a guy that's been coaching the Clemsons and the Floridas and the big program defenses of the world. Write a check out. Bring that guy in here so you can take some pressure off yourself.
Yeah, because I was saying the same thing. I don't know where the production is going to come from because our D-line is not getting back there. When Christian Baltimore is making a play, that Corral dude, he was getting out of the way. They were losing contain. It was horrible all over the field, Steven.
It was bad. I was there, had a bird's eye view. I saw it. I'll be checking to see what the meetings were like today, talking to some people. But Kenneth, man, you take it easy. Appreciate the call.
All right, Steven. Hey, I got to let you know. I got our conversation recorded from the preseason. So if it don't get better, I'm going to bring it back up.
Okay. All right. I got you.
All right, you're on time.
Appreciate the love there coming from Kenneth. We got another call here. You guys lighting this up right now. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Stephen A, man? I love your show.
Man, I appreciate it.
Hey.
I'm trying to be honest and entertaining at the same time, and my gosh, it's hard.
Man, oh man. Look, I got so much to say, but I know we limited. So I got a question. I mean, as an Alabama fan, we got to really think, like, we want to win, right?
Yes.
Against
Georgia.
Yes,
true.
But just think about it. If we win against Georgia and Georgia win from this point out, we still got to play Georgia again. And if we lose in the SEC championship, we probably won't make it to the playoffs.
That's a lot to take in, yes.
All right. So, but if we beat Georgia, now my goal is, as an Alabama fan, I hope Najee just run down their throat, man. Just Najee get 200 yards so we can set all the hype up. Every year, Alabama is the main talk, is the main point of discussion when you got teams like Clemson playing the ACC that's literally not playing nobody. And they're 100% by the time the playoff comes, and then they become the talk about who's playing who and whatever. But they got the cupcake schedule, man. That's what I don't like. They talk about Alabama so bad, but Clemson have the cupcake schedule, and they don't play nobody. And they expect to get to the playoff every year, and they'll be 100%. So, of course, it's easy for them to win. They don't have no injuries. That's 1 point.
Yeah. And along with that statement, I mean, I look at the Clemson program. I'm hopeful that Miami gives them somewhat of a push this week, if they haven't already played Miami. I mean, I thought Notre Dame. They played them already.
They played the Hurricanes. They beat.
Okay. So hopefully Notre Dame does something. Hopefully the Irish does something. I mean, I thought Notre Dame was going to be a lot better coming into this season. They've had some hiccups and some struggles, but just finishing your thought there, man, on Georgia. Alabama got to be able to run the football with Najee Harris, absolutely. Mac Jones continue to do what he's doing against defenses. And if Nick Saban can swiftly, and I'm talking 0 to 100 real quick, if he can swiftly iron out the kinks with what this defense is, if I can call it a defense, then we can move forward from there. But we shall see what happens. But we appreciate the call, man.
Hey, can I say a few more things, and I go.
Go ahead.
Is it possible that Lane Kiffin is really that good? Now, I know our defense was exposed, but is it possible that Lane Kiffin is really that good compared to what Ole Miss being over the years? Ole Miss always had good wide receivers and big cornerbacks. So, is it possible that they really are that good? And is it possible that, we talking about a team that only been practicing like 4 to 5 weeks? Like, how can everybody expect for a team to come together as a defense and be productive, and y'all only been practicing like 4 weeks? I mean, especially not even consistently because COVID-19.
Good points there.
It's too high.
Good points there. Solid points. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear exactly what you're saying, man. I hear you. Ole Miss is good. Lane Kiffin is good. He's that good. But at the same time, for an Alabama team that's predicated on tackling and playing fundamental and having some discipline out there on the field, you got to have those things. And Alabama did not have those things on last week. But I 100% see your point. But definitely appreciate the call, my man.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. We take another call here right now. We are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Stephen M. Smith. I will take a W over L any day of the week, sir, no matter how we get it.
Hey, Spencer, I agree with you. Spencer, I agree 100% with you. Even as stressful as it was, because I had a tough time driving home, but a W is better than an L. You are correct.
There you go. Now, to answer your question, if Golden can be salvaged, we could take a cheerleader off the cheerleading squad and call a better game than Golden. So that's a no.
Wow. Wow.
And,
you know what? I will.
Go ahead.
For you, Spencer, I will alert the pep squad. I will call the pep squad.
In a heartbeat, sir. Right now, I guarantee you, excuse my French, guarantee you any one of them could call a better game. But now, do you got time for me to do a lead-up question, what I observed on rewatching the game?
Just a quick one. Go ahead.
Okay, just real quick. After I talked myself out of remodeling my house Saturday night, I rewatched the game on Sunday, and the biggest thing that stood out to me as a past defensive lineman is why are all the defensive linemen standing looking for the calls to be in? They should be down in their stance, looking them people in the eye before they get set. Why are they standing looking?
That's the same thing I was asking myself, Spencer, because I was watching the game, bird's eye view. I'm watching a Brian Ray, DJ Dale, Christian Barmore, just looking for the call from Pete Golding, and the call just didn't get in quick enough or whatever the case may be, but I was seeing the exact same thing that you saw.
That's just all because in my day, we had our basic defense. You lined up, you were in your stance before the offense ever got there, even on a quick snap, so you could see things. You wouldn't stand. You waited for your linebacker to tell you to shift. You didn't stand up and look around.
Absolutely, did not. You did not do that. But Saban, as everybody has stated, this is the week. If Saban's trying to win championship number 7, he's got to get things fixed now. But Spencer, appreciate the call, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Roll Tide and go gang. Talk to you
Absolutely.
later. Bye,
Absolutely. Appreciate the love there from Spencer Reveley here. We got another call here in the queue. You are live within my own words. What's going on?
Stephen, hey, buddy. Love your show, man. Listen, I'm going to be calmer this week. This is Chris Jackson. I called you last week. Listen, brother, I took a picture with you in front of the stadium last year.
That was you?
Man. Yes, sir. And I was tore up last week because, hey, now, hey, I rest my case. I told you last week it was a little too late for me a long time ago. And what did I tell you about the defensive lineman last week? I told you in the Missouri game I was there watching, they were looking for the call. I mean, I don't know why all these people all of a sudden just catching all this stuff that's been, touting golden, man. I mean, I know football, and he can't get it done. I told you that last week, bro. I mean, man, I was fired up last week, and I'm just going to be easy this week. But, man, I'm telling you, bro, I mean, listen, there ain't no way, man. Has no emotion, bro. Don't get on the players. Don't pat them. I mean, he looks lost as a biddy in tall grass, bro, looking for his mama.
I mean you're right. You did right. And like I said, you're right.
You got the fire. To me, it looks like they come in, they got a little shell shock, and that's when the defensive coordinator's got to go over there and get them fired up and get on them, And when they do good, man, you jump up and down and you praise them. But you know what I mean? You got to keep that defense fired, man. I mean, they ain't got nobody. I mean, man, to me, he's making great talent look bad. I don't think he's fair to the players, man. I'll be honest with you. And I'm gonna tell you something. You don't think that coaches ain't already don't start working on our defensive recruits with this stuff, man? You can believe that started Monday, probably Sunday. I mean, look, man. Hey, I mean, that's why I was fired up for, man. I mean, I pulled my hair out all summer. I mean, I was fed up last year. I mean, I watched it. I mean, there's no love for the players, I mean, look, man, man, everybody feeds off of momentum, man. And it don't matter how you give the momentum, but, man, you got that. Man, you got, I mean, and plus, too, man, he's not a good coach either, in my words, because we got too much inside linebacker talent. And I never seen it develop over last year. And that's when I got fed up. I mean, not developed like he should. I mean, he sure can't make adjustments. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, he just stands there. I mean, he's just way in over his head, man, and that's totally obvious. And so, anyway, bro, listen, man. Hey, buddy, I love your show, bro. I got your picture frame. And to keep doing what you're doing, pal, and roll tide to you, bud.
Appreciate the love there coming from Chris. I did not know that was Chris at the game. So appreciate the love there from Chris. We take another call on the show. You're live within my own words. What's going on?
Hey, this is the Yellow Hammer from Bama.
All right, Yellow Hammer, what's going on with you?
Yay, man. Appreciate this show. And I like to calm this thing down, is tell everybody that Kiffin is not going to be in Tuscaloosa. He won't. And that Georgia defense is going to get sliced up. They ain't seen an offense like this. They going to put a quarter in the jukebox, and they going to get sliced and die any way that they want to get sliced and die. If they stop the run, they're going to get Waddle or Mechie or Devontae or a room full of those tight ends or that field goal kicker any way that they want. And another thing, what's the fella named Najee? He has developed a taste for blood. And one last thing, just one last thing. My man, Mike 10, that's Jay Coker, the reincarnation of Jay Coker, Roll Tide.
Appreciate the love that coming from you. Appreciate the call there, Younger Hammer. You take it easy. Great call from him. Fantastic call from him. You guys have lit us up this entire call segment. Appreciate the calls, the love, the vents, the laughs here as I am cracking up on this show. But before we take a break right here, we got a super chat to shout out. Gucci Todd. How about Gucci Todd dropping in that $10 donation there in the super chats, part of that Blue Wrench gang. But Before we take a break here, my man John just reminded me we have grades to go through. So for the first time, we're going to unveil the Stevens Report grades segment. Now, when I was doing these as far as article content for the Touchdown Alabama magazine site, I used to grade the performance of the players, coaches, things of that nature. But now we're going to take this and use this for, a segment here. So Putting my teaching hat on here, Stevens Report here, grades-wise, from the performance against Ole Miss. First and foremost, how about Mac Jones? Somebody said something about Mac 10. How about Mac Jones, Mac Drip here? A+. A+ from Mac Jones. He gets an A+ for the week. I'm telling you, more than just a placeholder. This is a bona fide quarterback. You've got NFL scouts thinking this guy can maybe go second round, maybe slide late first round. He's doing some things that not even Tua Tagovailoa did. I mean, Mac Jones, back-to-back 400-yard passing performances. Mac Jones against Ole Miss completed 87.5%. Are you kidding me? Stupid. 87.5%, for Jones. 28 for 32 passing, 417 yards. 2 touchdowns, no mistakes, took an Alabama offense, netted to 63 points. There were moments in that game where it was literally a fire show storm between Jones and Matt Corral of Ole Miss. Jones put the team on his back, carried it, made big-time plays. I don't want to see nobody else doubting this young man anymore. And I called this one on Mac Jones, and so far, it has been fruitful. A+ there for Mac Jones. Moving on down to offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. Sark gets an A+ from me. Sark's been fantastic. He has proven that he was well worth the extension that he got. A beautiful game plan the whole night, dialing up plays. It was he against Lane Kiffin, and, Sark got the better of Lane Kiffin. So a big job from Sark. He got the pass game going. He got the run game going. A+ there from Steve Sarkisian. Moving on down to the running backs, the tandem of Najee Harris and Brian Robinson. This is an A for me. Big job from both guys. A goes to both guys. Landon Dickerson, talked about it on last week. Not proud of the run game. It's got to get better. How about the offensive line this past week, though? Against Ole Miss, this group blocked for over 300 yards rushing. Najee Harris, a career day. 23 carries, 206 yards, 5 touchdowns. Brian Robinson, is it me or has B-Rob now become the true complement to Najee Harris? Coming into the season, a lot of people thought the second guy was going to be Trey Sanders. B-Rob saying, hold my beer. I ain't done with this thing just yet. Brian Robinson, 10 carries, 76 yards, and 1 touchdown. He is playing well. So the running back's an A right there. Moving on down to the wide receivers, Devontae Smith still showed he still owns Ole Miss's secondary. Smitty in the matchup against the Rebels, the young man, 13 catches, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns total, had a rushing score, a career day for him. Jalen Waddle doing what Jalen Waddle does, 6 catches for $120 receiving, and even John Mechie had 4 catches for 75 yards. So receivers, A there. But as we move down to Pete Golding, Pete Golding. This is an F for Pete Golding. This is an F for Pete Golding. When you're an Alabama defense, you pride yourself on being disciplined, being able to tackle, being able to create pressure, being able to have that dominant focus, that dominant intensity, that dominant play. And when you're at Alabama defensively, you are always compared to defenses in the past. And when you're watching former players on social media, the Marquise Mayes, the Ronnie Harrisons, the Mac Wilsons, the Isaiah Buggs, the Eddie Jacksons, all of these players, the Will Lowrys, all of these players coming out saying, this is not Bama. What's going on with defense? This is massive problems. When you have Saban frustrated, fans frustrated, former and current players frustrated, something's got to give, something's got to change, something's got to adjust. This was not the game here for Coach Golding, not the performance that people want to see from him. So an F there for Coach Golding. Can he be salvaged? To me, it's going to be hard for him to be salvaged. I would like to see Charlie Strong get a consideration, get a look, but we will see what transpires here this week. Before we take our next break here, Senator Hines, got to shout out to man, Senator Hines dropping in that $10 there via the Super Chats, helping us out here at TDA. Upon our return here, folks, from the break, we will jump into Mac Jones, and can he shred this Georgia defense coming in here this week? Can he take down Kirby Smart with this passing game? We'll discuss Mac Jones after this.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama. If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're back inside the action. That is, in my own words, how to show on the streets, #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. So right now, there's over 200 people in the live YouTube chat, over 200 folks. There should be 200 likes on the video. If you haven't liked the video, go like the video right now. Do it right now. Like the video right now. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Turn those notifications all the way on. But we do appreciate everybody for tuning in, chatting in, calling into the show on today. And before we get into final topic here of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. Make us your plug for your Alabama football apparel. We got your shirts right here, your hoodies right here. If you're feeling the I love hearing Touchdown Alabama shirts, the Let Them Play shirts, We Want Football shirts, hoodies galore, come do your shopping right here. TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. Supporting the team, the players, Coach Saban, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we jump into now. Final topic of conversation, Mac Jones. Mac Jones facing this Georgia defense this weekend. And I said this 3 years ago, and people thought I was crazy. And people thought I was psychotic. And people thought I was sniffing cocaine or snorting cocaine. People thought I was out of my mind. People thought I was out of my mind. I was saying this 2 to 3 years ago. Mac Jones is cooking something up. Mac Jones got something for you. Mac Jones is something serious. Mac Jones is the real. I was saying this 2 to 3 years ago, and everybody was beating me like a Mexican piñata with no candy and set piñata that I was getting hit with. But looking at this right now, Mac Jones is the real deal. And 2 days before the start of the season against Missouri, I had conversations with all 3 of Jones's quarterback coaches or private coaches in Florida. They all talked about, we don't understand where the haters are coming from, the naysayers are coming from. This guy has all the potential to put together a Joe Burrow type of season. And so far, Mac Jones has exceeded every expectation that people had placed in front of him. I mean, he's doing some things that Tua did not even do. I mentioned it. Mac Jones, back-to-back 400-yard passing games. Tua never had back-to-back 400-yard passing games. Mac went 435 against Texas A&M, and then he reloaded the clip and fired again 417 against Ole Miss. Mac Jones, the only quarterback in Alabama football history, 3 career touchdown passes of 80 yards or more. Tua didn't do that. And Mac Jones against Ole Miss, 85.7% completion percentage. Tua never had a game where he completed 80+% of those passes. So there are some things that Jones is providing to you. But so far this season, Mac Jones, 66 for 83 passing, 79.5%. The man is darn near completing 80%, and this was against a Missouri team that finished top 15 for total defense last year, had 8 starters returning. This is against a Texas A&M team that had a veteran defensive front. And this is even against an Ole Miss team, despite giving up 63 points to Alabama. The Ole Miss team still had some dudes on it. So Mac Jones, 66 of 83, 79.5% completion clip, 1,101 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. But here's the big thing. In terms of where he stands nationally, Jones, number 1 nationally for pass efficiency rating, 220.3. Mac Jones, number 2 nationally, completion percentage, 79.5. Mac Jones, number 2 nationally in yards per completion, 16.7. Mac Jones, number 4 nationally, passing yards per game with 367. The man is doing his thug fizzle out there on the football field. But I mentioned in the offseason that 3 games will ultimately determine Jones's legacy. 3 games. Those 3 games, I had Georgia, LSU, and Auburn. The first test comes this week, Georgia. I mentioned after the A&M game that, hey, put Mac Jones in the Heisman, and a few of U.S. callers said, hold on, not yet, Stephen, not yet. Let's wait to see what he does against Georgia. Let's wait to see what he does against Georgia, because Georgia got something for him. Georgia got that heat for him. Georgia got them banana clips for him. Georgia got that pressure. They got that pressure for him. So here we go. This is the week for Georgia, and Kirby Smart has a lot of pressure on him this week because Kirby Smart, after spending 9 years under Coach Saban, 2007 to 2015. He's been the head coach at Georgia since 2016, and the fan base in Georgia is like, all right, Kirby, you came close at him one time in the 2018 title game off the 17 season, and then you came close at him again for 2018 SEC title game. But Kirby, when you gonna pull that trigger, bruh? When you gonna pull that thing, man? When are you gonna finally get in? When are you going to finally end Nick Saban, Kirby? You've been close, but close only comes so far, Kirby. We're getting kind of impatient. When are you going to end this thing, man? When are you going to get over this obstacle right here? So that's been kind of the news story going on where the Georgia faithful is concerned. When is Kirby going to be able to do this in terms of beating, Coach Saban? So Kirby brings in the best defense he has had in his tenure, with the Bulldogs. As we look at these stats here from Georgia's defense, what the Dogs are bringing in, it's a serious group. They're top 10, mostly across the board in every defensive category, just about, but they're first in the SEC as well. So in points per game, Georgia giving up 12.3, fifth in the nation, first in the SEC. They're giving up 236.7 yards per game of total offense, second in the nation, first in the SEC. They're giving up 38.3 yards rushing per game, first in the nation, first in the SEC. They're giving up a 99.03 defensive pass efficiency rating, which is third in the nation, first in the SEC. They're giving up only 28.3%. They allow opponents to convert just 28.3% on third down. That's 10th in the nation, first in the SEC. They have 10 sacks. This is 14th in the nation, but still first in the SEC. They give up just 43 first downs, 9th in the nation, first in the SEC. And they have a +3 turnover margin, which is tied for 10th in the nation, first in the SEC. So this is a real deal defense that Kirby's bringing in here. And Coach Saban mentioned after the Ole Miss game, we got to be a whole lot better because Georgia, that's a real deal defense. So Mac Jones, this is his moment to really, once and for all, solidify himself as he's in this Heisman conversation. He is getting that ticket to New York City for the Heisman Trophy presentation. This is the game right here. People say Georgia's got the heat for him. Georgia's got the pressure for him. Here's the game right here for Mac Jones to show that nobody got the heat for me. Nobody got the pressure for me. I got the heat for everybody else. I got the pressure going for everybody else. They got to watch out for me. So here's this game here for Jones against the Georgia Bulldogs. It's going to be a huge matchup for the offensive line to keep him protected because Georgia's got some pass rushers. Nolan Smith over there, N'Kobe Dean over there, among other guys. They've got some edge rushers on that side of the football. So this is a game for Alex Leatherwood. If he wants to be a top 5 draft pick, this is a game for Leatherwood. Protect Mac Jones at left tackle. This is a game for Evan Neal, protect Mac Jones at right tackle. This is a game for your interior guys of Dickerson, Ekiyor, and Deontay Cornbread Brown. Protect your quarterback. So while those guys have got to keep Mac Jones upright, this young man has to slice and dice Georgia's defense. I think he can do it because, I mean, this is not the first time Jones has went up against a nasty defensive front. Remember, he faced an elite defensive front last season against Auburn that had guys get drafted, including Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson. And all Mac Jones did in that game was go for 335 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Yes, he had the 2 interceptions, but he bounced back and made big plays. And then against Michigan, if you remember in the Citrus Bowl, he played against a defensive front that had some guys drafted off that group as well. And all Mac Jones did there was go 16 for 25 passing, 327 yards, and 3 scores. So let's not make it seem like he has been up against an elite defensive front before. But this is a big game against Georgia. Mac's got to slice and dice these guys to really show folks, hey, stop sleeping on me. Put me in this Heisman. But as always, people, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage here on your Crimson Tide. It's very simple and easy to do. You access it by getting the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. Download it for your iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play Store if you've got the Android phone. For all your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We got you covered. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. As always, Tide Nation, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. Link will be found in the description. But till next time, people, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, school is in. Continue doing those things legitimately now. Don't be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself. Protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, spend in my own words.